Hello? Oh, there we go. Good evening. Sorry for the late start. I had internet issues.
Hello.
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 Are we here?
Are we? I don't know. Yeah, I think we are here.
Are
Yep. One, two, three. That's perfect. Okay.
Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't. No, I can't hear you for some reason.
it's probably the headphones.
Oh, and then another thing is if you have another webinar platform
That's better.
open, oh, there we go. Then it's the headphones.
I had my wrong headphones plugged in.
That'll do it.
Hello, everyone. Sorry we're late. How are we all doing? Enjoying the warmth, I hope.
Oh, for
Mhm.
sure.
Okay. I guess I don't need to say we need disclaimers on this meeting, do I, Malik?
No, this is more informal.
Okay. Good. This is what day is today? The April 16th meeting of the Somerville Conservation Commission Community Gardens Subcommittee. I'm Michael Fager, I'm the chair. We also have Tatiana Ing, Cindy Seltzer, and Newton Tedder at this meeting. Plus, are there other people as well, Malik?
13 participants total. So 8 attendees we have.
Okay. Well, should I printed out the wrong agenda? Well, we'll start out with Newton. You can talk about how the waitlist project is going.
Okay.
Also, I do have Sean O'Brien from the Office of Food Access and Healthy Communities here.
Do
So I
we do
guess
we do we want to talk with him first before we talk about the wait
uh,
list?
not necessarily. That is at your discretion. I just want to let you know he's here, and I'm going to promote him to panelist. So,
Okay.
all right. So,
All right. Why don't we do Newton? Go ahead with the.
Well, before we do that, Cindy, are we setting up another meeting besides this one to go over with the gardeners or with the garden coordinators how to use the wait list? That's not this meeting, right?
I think that people would like to be able to use the wait list sooner rather than later because we are starting to fill up the plots.
Okay. Do you want to do that? Do you want to do that now?
If we have the time to do that, it would be good.
Okay. Well, then in that case, Michael, I think we might want to switch the order around.
Okay.
Because that could take a little bit, and we don't need Sean to watch me fumble through Excel for the next 20 minutes.
Okay. So what do we need to do to talk about that?
Well, I think we had started last year with a couple of gardens did a pilot program, and if they're on, I would really appreciate them coming on and talking about their experience. That had partnered with local community groups to deliver excess food to those local community groups to deliver themselves or distribute to people in the community that were underserved. So this program worked really well. And the one thing that we heard feedback from the gardens that initiated this program was that it would be really nice to make it a little easier for the transfer of the extra food to a chosen recipient organization. Like if there were designated pickup days, or there was more coordination citywide. The city had, an organization that they wanted to give food to, and there was just more organization around it instead of relying based on garden by garden. So I think we would like to talk about the potential for any sort of more formalized program where the gardens could either, request a pickup day, pickup month, something, and the food would then be delivered to a local organization, either of the city's choosing or not. And so I think the idea for today was to talk about the potential for having a more formalized program than an individual garden by garden program.
So Sean, I think then we come to you. You were introduced to me as the city person with the community kitchens program. Did you guys, I'm kind of at a loss for this because I'm not personally a community gardener. And I know that there were community refrigerators, but I have no idea where any of them were or how they actually worked. I guess because I'm not an actual gardener. Can you give us a little bit of background on how that worked?
Sure. I'm the food access coordinator for the city of Somerville, and in that I manage the Somerville, the mobile farmers market every summer, and I also am involved in other food access and food insecurity programming. And so I'm not directly a part of the community fridge system, but we are in frequent communication with people that are and coordinate it. And I'm currently working on helping ways to support getting more food regularly into community fridges, but also through other community mutual aid and other programs as well. So it was brought to my attention that there was interest in, and we always basically try to make connections between where there might be available food, excess food, and ways to get it more efficiently to people that need it. So and our office can assist in things like that in a number of different ways. We have a large walk-in fridge where we can store food. We can help coordinate deliveries of food, things of that nature. So essentially, I just wanted to attend this meeting to just sort of throw it out there and let people know who we are, why we're here, and what we can kind of do to it was also we also presented to Todd, he is one of the main organizers of the community fridge, Todd Kaplan of the community fridge program, who is happy to accept any excess food from community gardeners over the course of the season, and his suggestion was just to put individual gardeners in communication with him and his people to try to coordinate and just encourage gardeners to drop off food at community fridges as they had things or as they needed to. But I wanted to put out there that we can make that a little bit more formal if need be, and try to create a central place where food can be delivered, so that it can be held and then brought to some community agencies that might need it. So it's a little bit open-ended, but I just wanted to sort of lay out there that we're around to assist in whatever way might be sort of formed to get food where it needs to go.
Okay, unfortunately, I received a late notice from Todd that he was not able to be here tonight.
Yeah. I got that as well, but I'm in fairly regular communication with him, and he's sort of interested to know what direction this conversation goes in. I'm in fairly regular communication with him about other food access issues as well. So we're also working on a program with Somerville High School to where they're going to start creating prepared meals that can then be delivered to community fridges and through community organizations as well. So excess produce can also be gotten to the high school culinary program when school's in session to be used in in the kitchen as well to prepare meals. So that's an ongoing effort that my office is doing as well to try to create more sources of prepared meals for people that need them as well.
Okay, I'm going to back up and I'm going to ask basic questions. And if you feel like everyone knows this but me, please tell me. First off, I saw somewhere that there was a number of community refrigerators around last year, but the number has decreased to something like only 3 this year. Is that true? And second, how does someone, a gardener specifically, one, find out about them, and two, find out how they can get their surplus to a community fridge? Where is it? How do they get there? How do they get involved in this program?
Well, it's a mutual aid program. So there are 3 community fridges in Somerville. That number, that's been the number for quite some time now. One of them is going to move locations, although it's been delayed. That's going to happen. There is one on Sewell Street in Winter Hill. There's one on Prospect Street in Union Square, and then there's one right on the Somerville Medford line, technically in Medford at St. Clement's Church. They're open 24/7. They're open access for people to both drop off food and pick up food. So any excess food that people in the community have, whether it's like dry goods, canned goods, they all have a sort of pantry part as well, can be left there, and food can be left in the fridges. It's not really designed to have anything more than informal community oversight, but we're trying to offer a little bit of extra support to sort of coordinate it together if there's any way that we can do that. So if you go to the Somerville Food Coalition's website, there's a list of all of the available free community meal resources, community meals, where the pantries are, and also the locations of the community fridges are available there as well. So that and there's a list of, as often as we can keep it updated, we do, but there's a list of those resources in sort of a flyer form that can be downloaded and shared as well.
So how does this work? Let's say I have 2 zucchinis and tomatoes. What do I do?
I mean, as of right now, you could go just literally put them in a fridge, and the fridge that's closer to you, or you, and that's how it works. There's not any more. It's not any more formal than that. It's just it's a mutual aid program that was put together by volunteers in the community. We don't oversee it formally at all. We just try to help out wherever we can from the city side of it. So literally, you could just, if you knew where those 3 locations were, and you can find them on the Food Coalition website, you can just literally go. There's no, you don't sign in anywhere. You can just put food in the fridge. You can take food out of the fridge. Nobody's monitoring it other than to see what, if things need to be cleaned, or there's a volunteer network that takes care of making sure things are stocked and kept clean, and they try to bring together resources wherever they can. So that's basically it. If you had any extra produce that you weren't going to use, you can just put them there. People will put canned goods and things when they're cleaning out their pantries. They will bring those to community fridges as well.
Okay, how would we get this information to the gardeners? You say that there's a website with the Somerville Food Coalition. I don't have their particulars.
All right, well, let me I can drop that in the chat. Let me just pull that up. I mean, that'll give a list of where these locations are. And gardeners can do that. As of right now, gardeners can do, anybody can have free access to it, to any of the fridges as necessary. What we're trying to present ourselves to be available to do is if there's any interest in sort of formalizing that from a community gardens perspective, where if there's people that, you know, want to bring stuff to a central location, I mean, that can be arranged as well. But as of right now, just simply going to the community fridges and dropping off food is the only thing that's really, you know, in place. But let me drop that URL in the chat.
So I can send, I'm just taking notes. I'm Cindy. I'm the citywide coordinator. I will send notes from the meeting to the garden coordinators, and they can share that information about the community fridges with their gardeners. I know they've done that in the past. I'm curious if there's an advantage to bringing the food to a central place as opposed to just taking it directly to the community fridges.
I don't necessarily think that there is or isn't. It's just that, yeah, I was asked if that might be something, if there are people that can't get to a place, or we can try and offer something like that. I honestly don't have a strong opinion one way or the other. If it would be more comfortable for people to drop things off at a central location, that's something that Todd can be looped in on as well. So I'm really not advocating for one thing over the other, honestly.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from some of the gardeners as well, you know, some of the coordinators, whether they think that would be beneficial or not, Cindy, too, you know. Like I kind of am in the mind that it would be, just because the easier we can make the process for the gardeners and the garden coordinators, the less coordination of that they have to do as well. I just think we would probably get more use out of it, right? And the whole idea behind trying to pilot last year was to try and make it a more like semi-formal thing that would be easy for all the gardens to do when they do have excess food, and just bring that part of like community into the community gardens program. But I think we'll have to talk about it more, because I'm really interested in what, you know, the actual gardeners and garden coordinators think about having that more formalized program.
Is there anybody that has thoughts about that? Any of the gardeners?
I mean, I guess I could just start by saying that
I
I do think that if it's easier, like people do often have extras and we're often giving things away. And it does often just go to family or friends, but if there was a place, a box, whatever, that you could put something and know that it was going to somebody who needed it, I think people would like that. But it would definitely be sort of cyclical or seasonal.
Yeah, for sure. Wait, can we like unmute people that are in the?
I unmuted everyone.
Okay.
Yep. The only one who didn't mute themselves currently is Bill and Mike. So would you guys like to say something? Either Bill, Noel, or Mike Martson? Oh, Bill.
Go ahead, Bill.
Okay, it's Bill Knoll from the Bikeway Garden near Davis Square. My first thought would be kind of following up on what Cindy said, is that we can just informally make, each of us as a coordinator can make our specific gardens aware that that it's completely okay, and we even encourage donations be made to the individual refrigerators. But there's only 3 refrigerators, so that means there's, for some of the gardens, it's probably quite a distance, and it's not going to be optimal. I think it's probably going to be pretty irregular. I do like the idea of trying to have some more formal arrangement, and I don't know if this is possible this season, but looking at a way where there could be maybe coordinators could take turns over the growing season and try to arrange a vehicle for pickup at all the community gardens, and then make a bulk delivery to all 3 of the refrigerators. Short of that, it just seems like a very decentralized, informal approach, which is probably going to, you know, sometimes work, and then maybe one of the refrigerators is going to get a lot of donations and the other 2 are not. So I think if we're going to try to really make this connection with all the community gardens, it would be best to arrange some sort of logistics for pickup from all the gardens at more or less the same time, or maybe half one week and then the other half the following week, and then we can get a more bulk bulk delivery to the 3 refrigerators to ensure that there really is a delivery on a continual basis. Otherwise, I think there's no like real metric to know if we just do this informally whether anything's working or not. I mean, we've at the Bikeway Garden during the pandemic, we did this informally at our garden for the closest refrigerator, and it was a lot closer. There were I don't know how many refrigerators were in the city at that time, but there was more than 3. I know that, and it worked out okay. You know, everyone understood there was a need during the pandemic, and I think people were thinking that way. That's now kind of in the past, so I think we need a new incentive, and if there is a way to take a first step to formalizing things this season, that'd be great. But if not, let's think about doing something, like I said, next year, or whatever ideas other people have.
Okay, and I have Janine here.
Oh, yes, this is Janine Farley
Yep.
from the Tufts Garden. We did that last year. Every Wednesday, I put a box in the garden and I had a sign on it that was for the community fridges. And I told people that every Wednesday I would pick it up and I'd bring it to the fridges. And so people just put in whatever extras they had. And then I took it home, and you have to sort of bag it up and do, like if there's a whole bunch of kale, you have to sort of like put rubber bands around it to make it, you know, appropriate size for one person to take or whatever. But so there's a little bit of sorting going on, put things in bags and stuff, but then you take it to the fridge, and that worked fine. And it, you know, you can tell that it disappears because if you look at the fridge again, it's gone. So that was pretty systematic, and it seemed to work fine.
Sean, would that be prep work that you would be able to handle or take care of?
I mean, we don't have staff to do that. That's something we could help arrange, you know, transport or something like that. We could offer a central location. We're running our mobile market in the summer and have a couple of temporary staff that come on to help us run the market. Most of the other support that we offer is just support for things like you know, we could help with a van, with transportation, delivery coordination, things like that. We don't really have extra hands to help process things. But in terms of just having a central location to bring food where it can then be brought to, because it doesn't necessarily have to be you know, community fridges either. It can you can, if you wanted to involve pantries, you could do that. And then also later into the fall, as I said before, the high school culinary program is trying to do a lot of work in preparing meals, which is actually can be really good for produce that doesn't necessarily look its best, but is perfectly adequate to be used in a kitchen. Sometimes it's a much better to be used in a kitchen than it is to be put directly out as produce, sometimes it's, cannot look as desirable and there might be a little more waste. One of the things we're trying to address from the prepared meals, side of things as well. So that's another, taking potential sources of food and getting it to places where it can be used in kitchens where it would then go to feed hungry people is another one of our like main points of interest as well. So yeah, those are the ways that we can help out.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. A lot of the produce some folks might not know how to use it, or if it sits in the fridge for a while, I'm sure it can get spoiled. I'm pretty sure every tomato grown from Somerville Gardens are gonna be perfect, so they're gonna pick it up and know exactly what to do with it. But so would like a drive-by once a week or so, is that feasible?
You're saying for me from my office, if we
Right,
could do
like
that? 'Cause
with your office and team, like, okay,
that's
every
something that if
Monday
yeah,
or
and
so.
that if from our end, if some sort of
Scheduled.
semi-organized effort could come and we could, I could definitely commit to like doing a sweep of a couple of few locations to just gather what was there. That's something that I could definitely offer our office's assistance with, sure.
Right, like
And then
doing
then coordinate that through Todd and through some of the other places where produce is given out. And then, one thing we could do is then determine, this kind of thing would be good put in a fridge. This kind of thing would
right.
be good put in, like delivered to a kitchen and maybe put up in frozen or anything or
Right.
something like that. So,
Yeah. So yeah, because it sounds like Janine was saying that, you can put out a box and put
mhm.
everything that's extra there, knowing, they come by Monday at 4 or something, or in the evening to grab it.
Mhm.
Does the Somerville Food Coalition actually run the community fridges?
No, they don't.
Does
Nope.
anybody run them, or are they just?
It's a mutual aid. It does not have any sort of governing
Oversight.
body. It's not it's just a mutual aid society, and that we're trying to, offer any kind of support we can. But it's also kind of important for that group that it sort of operates that way. We don't have direct oversight for it. We just offer support where we can and advice when it's asked for about how, what do we do about the fact that, the fridges have gotten 100 like celery roots in them and they just things like that, which is the kind of thing that can happen because sometimes there's like grocery surplus and things like that. They'll get 100 whole pineapples and then and that's kind of the nature of the community fridge. Is sometimes it works well for a lot of things. It's not it's not the kind of it kind of benefits from a little bit of extra support, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
Is there an organized group that runs these fridges? Or is it just an unorganized, loose knit group
Yeah.
of people?
I think it's just communal. So like folks
Yeah.
can come put a can of beans, or a restaurant can dump off a box of pineapples. So
Mhm.
it's just communal. And I
You know,
guess, yeah,
a
go ahead.
friend of mine used to like clean one of the fridges once a month. So
Mm,
there's at least that level of
Mm-hmm.
organization.
They
to
have
that.
a volunteer network. They do a really good job of, because sometimes they get large scale donations from like extra, or they have believe they have between all of them, they have a membership with the Boston Area Gleaners, which involves a big regular delivery of vegetables to one location that they then have to parse out and deliver to all of the different locations. And those are things that they handle unto themselves. I mean, there's a few volunteers there that seem to do a lot of a lot of their organization, but it's not really formal. Todd Kaplan is the one that I'm in contact with most often. He seems to be sort of the, one of the point people for doing a lot of that work with them. But I mean, they're not overseen by any kind of governing body. They themselves are not a formal organization at all. It's just it's a straight community volunteer effort. And and our office tries to support them in that as well, because there doesn't seem to be any huge interest in sort of making it any more formal than it needs to be. It's just it's a community-led community resource, and that we're just trying to help along however we can.
Sorry, that's great. Just in the interest of time, I guess it sounds like we can easily match up a schedule to gardeners. I wonder, like, it's really just lining up. Is there a specific day that's better for pickup? Is there a specific day that, gardeners maybe come in and kind of go through their stock of vegetables and that's a good day for them to drop off, excess goods. So I wonder, Cindy, if you and Sean can talk about kind of a day that might be helpful, and then maybe a list of gardens and addresses that could be, in this kind of rotation, unless other folks have other thoughts. I know, Janine, you still have your hand up. I don't know if that's from before, but you have something to say.
Tatiana, that's a great idea. I think, like, Cindy, working with Sean to sort of coordinate that, even if it's like, once or twice a month.
Right. Yep. Doesn't have to be weekly.
No,
Yeah,
and just so that all the gardens, and you can like get a note out to all the gardens that they know, like, this day, this month, there's going to be a pickup. So there's a box, put all your stuff in by that day, and it'll be picked up.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it's going to have to be further along in the summer when things are actually growing to excess, which
right.
They'll have to, so there'll have to be some coordination on like when that
Timing.
starts and stuff.
Cindy, do you have Todd Kaplan's info?
Sean also just dropped his email in here as well.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, if anybody wants, I'm happy to answer any questions. I mean, I didn't come with anything formal prepared because there literally isn't anything, but I just wanted to, make sure that that we're here to, we're here to answer any questions. We don't have a large staff or a huge amount of like formal. I mean, we do have formal programming, but I mean, as far as supporting the creation of a different kind of thing, where I'm happy to connect that way. And I also do I do have Todd's email here as well, which I'm sure he would not be adverse to being contacted as well, because he
yeah, like, and you guys can connect about timing, frequency. I think, Sean, if you can give maybe the gardeners just some tips that maybe could be helpful of how you can split, portions, or if it's a large thing, like this is a bin for, high school so they can make meals, and this is more for fridges.
Yeah, I
that
think
would be good.
It makes a lot of sense to do it that way. I think it was Janine who said this stuff really does kind of need to be packaged for the community fridges. Otherwise, it's like when you throw lettuce in your fridge and nothing, it just winds up wilted and going to waste.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of having, you guys being able to pick it up. I can check in with the coordinators and see if they have a preference for day and time and sort of how often, and then get back in touch with you guys. Does that sound good, John?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, we could definitely arrange a periodic pickup kind of thing. I mean, obviously at the height of the season, we're pretty flat out, and it would be hard to offer any more than like maybe once a week kind of thing. But that should also be should be pretty sufficient. And then we also have a because we'd need to figure out some other way to do it. But we also do have our own walk-in cooler that can be used as well, that I can figure out how to access that as well. But again, I'm happy to answer any questions anybody might have, and just defer to the people that that grow their food to figure out ways that we can be of assistant. We're not really here to like say you must do this, or we're proposing that you have to do any sort of thing. We're just trying to figure out ways that can best meet the needs of the community where they're at, with the people that might want to find a way that without putting all of the onus on people to, like, you have to figure out where people are and how to get everything to where it needs to go. There can be a little bit of, we can all work together to try to make this happen.
Yeah, I think transport was the main issue, and I think it sounds like we can take care of it. So, Bill, do you have a question? You have your hand raised.
No, not really. Well, it is a question. I guess it's for Sean. Is the community growing center or like the South Street Farm, are either of those groups doing anything like donations that we could learn from?
Is Community Growing Center, I'm not sure what their programming looks like these days. South Street Farm and Groundwork Somerville they are involved with a lot of the other programming around the city. For example, the mobile farmers market that I run takes produce from Groundwork Somerville and brings it to market. One of many reasons why the project to try to create community meals, prepared meals. One was just because of the necessity of that. Like, some people who need food also don't have the facility to prepare it, especially produce that needs processing and things like that. So just prepared meals, and people who are who have illnesses and things like that. And also, one thing that started to arise with Groundwork Somerville is that a lot of the produce that they have is stuff that grows at the height of the season. Like, kale starts coming fast and furious, and it doesn't always, in terms of trying to prepare stuff to bring to a farmer's market and try to sell, it's perfectly great. It doesn't look beautiful on a 90-degree summer day, and it's the kind of thing where it would be a lot better if it could be processed and frozen, or it could be actually cooked and incorporated into a meal where it would last longer and look better and feed people that way. So that was another way that we tried to help out in that process. And Groundwork Somerville also is involved in the garden plots that are at all of the schools as well. So they help out with that kind of support. And they also do deliveries directly to the community fridges, and they have since they've been in existence, really. So they do regular deliveries of produce directly to the community fridges, and sometimes they use their paid youth green teamers, they call them, over the summer to do some of that work as well. So I also, that now that you mentioned that actually is something where there might be, again, I don't know in terms of what the groundwork plan is for this summer, but that's something that the green team that they have may well be able to play a role in, as well as like delivering food to fridges, maybe helping process and pack things. I certainly can't promise that, but that's something that I could raise with them, because that's another group that I'm in communication with pretty regularly.
John, I have a question. Do you have the actual addresses of these community fridges? You gave us the street names, Prospect Street and Sewell Street, but do you have addresses?
Yeah, the Sewell Street fridge is 36 Sewell Street. And that's the one that's actually in the process of moving.
Is this like some kind of a public building or a private house or what?
That one's at somebody's house. That one is literally in the next to somebody's front steps. Let me. I'm just pulling up our.
It listed on the website. It
Yeah.
says 130 Highland Avenue for the Mission Church and 35 Prospect Street.
Yeah, 35 Prospect is the one is right in the middle of right
like
in the
by the
middle of
CrossFit
Union
or something?
Square. Yeah, it's right across from the Dunkin' Donuts there. That's in Union Square. Also, right across from that giant building that's
What,
being.
I was gonna say in front of the new building?
Yeah, yep,
Okay.
right in front of there. 36 Sewell Street in Winter Hill. And 33 St. Clement Road, which is it's the back parking lot of the St. Clement Church, right on the Medford Somerville line. That's right over by it's across the street from that Semolina Kitchen, like over that way.
Okay.
The
All right.
36 Sewell Street fridge, when last might wind up moving to the grounds of the Elizabeth Peabody House, which is like a block away from where it is now. But that plan has been put on hold for now, I believe.
Okay. All right, is there anything else we need to cover on this? I do think we need to speak with Todd and his group and see what we can get from them. I'm sorry he wasn't able to make it tonight. Anything else? All right, Sean, I guess, thank you very much. We will be in touch with you.
Okay, happy to hear from anybody. Well, thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. This is great.
Thank you.
Take care.
So I guess we will have to talk with Todd Kaplan and other groups. I'm gonna try to track down Torian, who was haranguing us last year about the mamas in their group, and see if they're real and interested in helping in this. It just seems kind of strange to me that they would be so adamant about it, and then when we actually start talking about doing something, it's so silent.
Maybe they just wanted to get us to move. You know?
Well, maybe, but
We are like an iceberg.
I guess
All
I
right.
always sort of believed in, you're gonna make the noise, you should do the work too.
Hmm.
But
Well, they made the noise and we did the work, and the other people are doing the work. The work is getting done.
yeah. Okay, let's see what else is on our agenda here. Oh, the wait list. I guess not a whole lot on this agenda.
Yeah, so I think the only thing left to talk about is the form, the consolidated wait list, and then just allowing people to use it. And I want to thank, I think Mike's on here. He sent me a couple of things, issues with it, and I've since fixed that. But I think the best thing for me to do is share my screen real quick.
Go ahead. Can you set him up to do that, Malik?
Absolutely. And Mike, I believe, is having some audio video issues. So
I'm okay now.
not sure if
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, there we
I'm
go.
back.
Yep.
Right. Thank you for pointing some of the issues out with the Excel spreadsheet.
Oh, no
So for
problem.
everybody on the call, we sort of embarked on a sub task force of this subcommittee to look at the wait list and the form and get every community garden's individual wait list consolidated into one master wait list that is connected to the form. And this took a while, and it is done and ready for everybody to use. And Mike, thank you for pointing out some of the issues that came with that. So you as garden coordinators all have access to this community garden waitlist linked to application form. It's a Google workbook. There's 4 people in here right now. I hope you have been I hope you're able to get in to this workbook. If you can't, email Cindy, and she'll get you in. I just updated the,
yes,
sorry, go for it.
Sorry, I think I gave everybody access to it, and if I can just mention, as you're talking about this, talking about the tabs in one tab already, somehow the pivot table got undone.
Yeah, so that is going to be one of my questions is as we go through this and how this is set up, and how we want it to be actually work for folks. So right now we have the form responses from the website. They all come in and they get populated here under form responses 3. So this is every time someone signs up, they get put at the bottom. Let's go. Yeah. So we had 2 people sign up today. When that happens, we have each garden has set up in their own tab, which is a pivot table, which looks at the first choice and the second choice of each one of the responders, and sorts it by whether it was that particular garden's first or second choice. So in this case, we've got Albion Park, and if any gardener in the form responses 3 tab has said that they would like the Albion Park garden, either the first or second choice, they will show up here in chronological order with the first person that requested at the top and the last person at the bottom. The idea here is you as garden coordinators would just be able to go into this individual tab, begin to make calls or emails to particular folks. And once you find someone or you need to remove people, that's where you don't actually remove it from your tab, but you look at the row column here. You're like, okay, Brian no longer lives in Somerville. The chances are probably high. So you're going to go back into form responses 3 and delete row 7. So you just scroll up and delete row 7. Here's Brian. You'd right click and you'd delete them. And that will update your tab, deleting Brian off of your tab. So this is the cleanest way we could think of in a non sort of very high level database functioning program to get this to work. But it only works if you're only really making edits in this form responses 3. I see some people have started to color it in. I think that's fine. You can really make notes in here. But the biggest thing is when you want to remove someone off of your waitlist, whether they got a plot or they no longer live or not eligible anymore, you need to actually remove the entire row from form responses 3. And what we're trying to do is make this form responses 3 tab be the most up-to-date list of everybody that is on anyone's waitlist. So we're not having our own waitlists anymore. We have one big master waitlist that we all are manipulating. And these other tabs are just a way to look at the data in a different way. I can, and maybe I should, just lock each one of these tabs so they're not they're not like messed with and deleted inadvertently. I mean, unlocking them is pretty simple. I won't like password it or anything, but just so nobody inadvertently messes with it is probably the best way to go. And I think Cindy, I did see that it was walnut, and I just remade it. So
yeah, I would say lock these pivot tables just because it's easy to mess it up, maybe, or make them like protected sheets or something.
Yeah. And this archive 2023, this is the old list that you may be familiar with, where people were crossing things out and making notes on. This is just an archive. for you to be able to look at. I think Mike, you would requested to look at it, and I just put it in here as an archive. This is not linked to anything. This is literally just an archive if you want to look at past notes or past crossouts that you may have done as a coordinator. That's my Google Docs spiel.
So Newt, who's deleting the line?
Any garden coordinator. So let's say, you know, Allen Street comes in and they're like, yep, I need to delete the first 3 people on here. So they look, I need to delete row 2, 3, and 4. So I would then go to form responses, go up and delete 2, 3, and 4 rows.
I'm going to clean that up this weekend. There's
Does
some
that
All
make,
ancient ones on there.
Okay.
oh, I think somebody is unmuted.
Mike, you're my power user. So like, is this making sense to you?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Does it make sense to have another tab that instead of deleting people and just deleting them completely, we cut and paste to the other tab and then delete the rows so we still have that data of who
That's
was
like a wait
deleted?
list for the wait list, or
It's not so much that, it's more like, okay, this person we couldn't get in touch with, we moved them to inactive.
Mm.
For example, they get back
But-
to us and they say, oh, I was still here, I just missed an email. I
But
don't
when
know.
would you remove them then, Cindy?
So we would remove them, like a coordinator would remove them from form responses 3 into an inactive
Right, but,
list.
okay, so let's say John Doe is an Allen Street requestee. He's on the list. The coordinator calls him, emails him, no response, no response. You move him to inactive. How long would he stay in inactive before he would be deleted completely?
I don't think that they would be deleted completely.
Okay,
It would just be, I mean, it's inactive, we're not doing anything with it, but it's just number one, it's data for us to have. And number two, if somebody comes back and says, well, I never heard from you, we'll have when they signed up for it.
okay.
One of the good things about Google Forms is that we can actually go into the form and pull out all the data. The data is only really deleting from our view of it here. So,
But we
even
all
when-
know Google still has it.
yeah, Google's not getting rid of any data. So like we can open the form and look at the data in basically a different spreadsheet if we wanted to. So we're never really losing. We're not deleting them for good. We're deleting them from our typical way we view the data, but we could still get it back if we really wanted to. To your point, Cindy, I think it was a good one. Like I added this notes column to form responses 3. So let's say, you know, you're in Allen Street and you've contacted this person, whoever this person happens to be, Peter, and you do that and you've contacted him 3 or 4 times, can't get in touch with him, but you don't want to delete him yet. You could come into row 2 because you know that's where he is, and you could start typing notes in here, like contacted 3 times but haven't deleted yet. And you can leave notes in here. And it doesn't screw anything up. So that could be a way to sort of mark people if you don't feel comfortable deleting the row quite yet, perhaps.
yeah. I wonder if there should also be just like a tab for just like instructions. Like maybe if you don't want to delete it yet, you can highlight it yellow, but have to have notes. But then you need to go back to it and address it at a certain point.
Yeah, we could add like, add like something in here
Or you do
about.
have directions, yeah.
So yeah, I can add something in here about like notes and highlights. It's important not to strike through stuff. Like if you're really going to delete somebody off the list, we really need to just delete the row. And I think hopefully knowing that you're not, the data's not gone for good. It's just gone out of all of our views of it, and they're not going to show up on anybody else's wait list either. Because I think that's also sort of important because we have 1 first choice and second choice. If they're higher up on one person's list and they contact them and they moved out of Somerville, when you delete that row, it's going to delete them from the other list if they're on somebody else's list for second choice. So then they're not bothered by having to contact the same person again. So it is really important that we actually do delete the rows, I think. But to Cindy's point, and I think it is a good one. We may want to hold stuff, and we can put a note in here on how to do that.
This is great. Good job.
I, for one, have to say I'm impressed, and I really want to thank you, Newton, and your group for the work you've done. Because I don't know, it's not something I would have taken on, but I don't really have the computer knowledge for any of this kind of stuff. But I still think I'm impressed, and I think you guys did a great job.
Awesome. Yeah, Sarah and Dan really helped out. And the next piece of this is like automatic emails that will go out to everybody that is remaining on Form Responses 3 once a year to see if we can start removing people from that if they've moved out of Somerville. So we're still kind of working through the final logistics of that. But for all you coordinators, there will be now an automated email, hopefully soon, about that will go out to each person that has filled out this form in the past, asking if they still want to remain on the list. So hopefully we start removing a lot every year from this Form Responses 3 tab, sort of automatically, without you having to do all of the legwork to do that. So maybe you're not calling 10 people to fill a slot, you're only calling 2, which would be amazing. So that's also in the works, and we're very close to getting that done with Dan from the city and Sarah's help, Sarah Dwyer.
Yeah, it's gonna save a lot of people time, we think, and this whole initiative is really just like a first step. But it's a big step, so maybe we can figure out how things actually work and make changes as we go if we need to.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome.
Okay, so I'm gonna, for follow up for that, I'm gonna lock all of the tabs for the individual gardens, and then everybody can get in here and start using it.
Okay.
Great,
Again,
yeah.
thanks
And
again,
then
Newton. Yes, Cindy.
once somebody is added to a garden, we also delete them from Form Responses 3, right?
Yes, and I'm assuming, so this is just the wait list. I'm assuming gardens have their like current gardeners that they keep.
Yes. So I put together a new spreadsheet. It's all the
Okay.
current gardeners.
Yeah, so once they would move from the waitlist spreadsheet to the current gardener spreadsheet for each garden, they should be deleted from here. The row should be deleted.
Okay.
Great.
All right. All right. Let's see. There is one more thing I wanted to address tonight. Let's see. I received an email from Bill Knoll from the Bikeway Garden who wants to know about, is it possible to turn the water on in mid-April? Is that possible, Malik?
I don't know. It's up to the discretion of DPW. I could talk to Ben Waldrop again. But usually I gave a range of mid to late April because they have to go around turning on the water for other parts of the city as well as the gardens. So it's a roving ongoing process for them to turn things on. And then I'm not sure if the weather is gonna dip to the point where it's a problem, but I think we're in the clear. So I'll just talk to Ben tomorrow and try and get you guys an answer by Tuesday's Conservation Commission meeting.
So the city is really more concerned about potential late season frost than anything else.
Yeah, that's what I was made to understand previously.
So they don't want any frozen pipes.
Yeah, it has snowed in April before, and just recently too.
Yes, it has. Okay.
Looks like we have a raised hand from Becca Pollock.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Good eye.
Hi, yeah. I just want to jump back to the wait list because I feel like maybe I'm missing something, but the people who put no preference when they submit the application, do they just not make it into any gardens wait list? And they're just floating on the perpetual wait list forever?
So, good question. The no preference list is no longer available to anybody in the form. You have to choose a garden now. But you're right. If you had, as far as I know, there's no one that just put no preference and nothing else. In form responses 3, and I will go check that just to make sure. But I think I thought I did check that. At least someone had one preference, and the second preference was no preference. And in that case, you don't get put on everybody's lists. You only get your first preference at that point. I felt like that was just, I didn't know what else to do with it, and I'm open to suggestion, but it just seemed, we have deleted it from the form. It just seemed kind of like an unworkable response to the subcommittee, and we made that unilateral decision. So I am open to suggestions here.
No, that totally makes sense with me. I think I did notice like maybe a few that were no preference across both columns. So that's why I asked.
Okay.
I feel like those people, like, they were trying to be really accommodating, most likely. They're like, any garden that was I'll go. So yeah, I guess just I would like want that to be double checked, that none of those people are just getting totally knocked out.
Yeah, very good point. I will look at that.
Thank you.
Great. What's on the list? What else is next? Are we all done?
I think we might be all done.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. We've done the wait list. We've listened to, we've had questions and comments. Do we need to review the purpose of the community garden subcommittee? That's actually on the agenda. I don't think we need to do that tonight. So I think we're pretty much done.
Great.
You guys, well, one question. You said, do you think we need one more subcommittee meeting for this season in the next month or so? Do we need to do that? And what would be the purpose of that if we did? But if we don't need that, we can put
It's
these
more
on.
like, Cindy, do you feel like you need the support or anything like that that might be coming up?
At this point, I don't. I mean, I guess I could be in touch with you guys if there are
Yeah.
things that come up.
Yeah.
I feel like the waitlist stuff, we've really moved that forward. And then the other things that we need are the mulch, the water, stone dust, but I don't think we need a meeting for that.
Yeah.
You have Malik's email and his phone number.
Oh.
You can just nag him, right?
Yes, I do.
You can always, if something comes up and we don't have a subcommittee scheduled, you can always call Malik and get on a regular Conservation Commission agenda and come and talk to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
And also, I do have a question, Cindy, because there is a community garden coordinator that is no longer or stepped down from. So I think I forwarded you that email. I'm not sure if I did or not, but I'm not exactly sure how to remove them from the community gardens Google group list.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because this was well before me.
Yes, I can try and update um the Google group. There is one community garden coordinator who's stepping down because she's moving and she hasn't been able to find somebody else.
And that's another thing. When someone can't find someone else, what happens in that situation? Because I remember getting an email last year about, someone stepping down and wanting to figure out who the next coordinator should be. And that's well beyond my knowledge to deal with.
Yeah. And I think she's gonna try and find somebody from within her garden, or we might have to go to somebody on the wait list and say, hey, can you coordinate?
We'll let you in if.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
All right. Sarah, do you have a question?
Yeah, I do. I was just wondering, do we know when the mulch might be coming? Just out of curiosity. Mulch and stone dust kind of things.
Malik, do you have an idea?
When they are? All right, so I'm gathering everyone's information. I've gotten some emails already. I'm gonna send out the form that I sent out last year so that everyone could put their information on there. Um, if it's the same as last year, as it typically has been, it'll be pretty quick and easy. I think last year was probably the most successful
Do you recall
turn.
when that was?
Oof. Let's see. Well, actually, I don't know when it gets delivered. I just find out when it doesn't.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I believe I gave a due date last year too. So,
And that worked really well.
yeah. So I'm gonna find all those old emails I sent and then just do the same thing. Please have all your materials submitted before Friday, April 14th, so that DPW could get the required materials for deliveries. Oh, wow. That due date is already passed. So I'm going to probably give a couple weeks, probably
The
April 30th.
28th, April
Yeah,
30th.
yeah, that sounds good. Um, so that
Malik, can you share what we asked for last year? Because we just want the same thing.
yeah.
If we can
So
just have like the same form and you can say, do you want the same thing or do you want to change?
all right. Whoa, what is this? Request access or switch to an account. Hmm, that's interesting. Okay, yeah, so I'm looking at this email right now, but my access has been denied for my own Google sheet that I made last year.
Are you logged into a different Google account?
I have one for Somerville specifically, and yeah, so
If
I'm guess.
if you're in the same window, sometimes you can get like switched around in the Google and it helps to log out of anything but the one that you want. I have fallen prey to this myself.
Up there it goes. Yeah, I'm requesting it from myself. Here we go. So yeah, that's most disconcerting. So yeah, I'll send that sheet right along. When I have access to it. Let's see. Hopefully. But yeah, it was around let's see, last year. Darn, I had it. All right, so trust. Oh, it's probably on this computer. Bear with me. Yeah, that's the problem with working off of two laptops. Okay, so it's not on this one. Okay, so my mulch request sheet was here. Tries.
Well, while Malika's looking for that, Bill, do you have a question?
No, I think Malik is answering it. I think he's looking for the schedule from last year and the request of how much material is needed by each garden. We just haven't had any communication on this yet this season.
Yep.
And it's April 16th, and
Is
it's
it
a little bit
typically
later than we would normally have started this communication.
is it typically going to be the same for you guys? Just shooting off the hip as your initial thought, because that would be good to
That was
know.
It's
the
typically the
communication you
same
sent
for us.
last year. I thought was excellent, Malik. It worked really well where you had the little table and asked each garden for, you know, the volume in cubic yards or whatever of each type of material.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm thinking that if you just send that around to everybody this week, if possible.
Yep. I will send it as soon as I have access to it. So that would, yeah, I did just find it not so long ago. So let's see. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So here we go. Yeah, so this was probably done by mid-May. It was all ascertained, gathered, set, and I think completed by May 18th, May 20th. So it should be about a good month turnaround. 1 second. I believe I'll share my screen to show. So here we go. Exit minimize video. Share screen. Wrong one. Mulch. And just to give you a remembering of, so yeah, that's pretty much the information I was given last year. I believe there was one or two gardens that did not submit anything, or just probably Avon Street. Yeah. Which I probably had contact with later. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But
They have grass between their plots, so they may just not have needed it.
oh. All right. So yeah, so this looks pretty good. And then in terms of that, any notes or requests as to where and time coordinations that you would like to ask of DPW could go in my little notes. So that's good. So
So you're gonna get that out this week?
yep, absolutely.
Okay,
I
good.
can get that out tonight. Is there any other gardens that I should add here? I know that Glenn's getting extended, so I'm wondering if I would separate those. But then again,
What do you mean extended?
it's getting more plots.
Oh, right.
But, yeah,
You can remind us, by the way, of Glenn. When is the opening?
good question. All right, so 1 second. I believe I have correspondence from Allison on that.
It's April 30th at
April
Thank you.
11:30.
Oh, all right. So that works. I'll share. There we go.
So should we all like show up and look good?
I said I would show up. I didn't promise to look good though.
But yeah, I believe Osgood's actually separated into two different areas too, so it shouldn't be too bad of an issue. Yes. So yes, it's a non-issue. All right,
Okay.
so yeah. So
Right.
the mulch and stone dust and the water will be resolved.
Great. Thank you, Malik.
No problem.
All right. Is there anything else we need to address tonight? Well, if there isn't, I want to thank you all for attending. I think we've pretty much covered it. If anybody has any questions or things they want to say, direct them all to Malik. All right. Thank you all. Good night.
All right.
Thank you.
Night.
Thank you. Bye.